The sun had barely cleared the horizon when the patrol began. Kidow moved across the hardwood floor with the steady, rhythmic pace of a guard on duty. Every shadow was a potential threat, every surface a territory to be secured. He halted near the bedroom door, his gaze locking onto a target, a gym sock lying discarded in the center of the hallway. It was a breach of protocol. He approached the intruder, nudging it firmly with his nose. He batted the fabric, inch by inch, applying force until it slid across the floor and back into the safety of an open drawer. He checked the perimeter, his tail held high as a stiff antenna of absolute authority. Satisfied, he continued his sweep toward the kitchen. He stopped abruptly at a tangled charging cable snaking across the floor. He tapped the wire twice with a single paw, testing its structural integrity, then stepped over it with deliberate care. He circled the living room once more, nose twitching at the scent of stale air, before taking his position in the center of the rug. This was his office. The apartment was under control, and the manager was exactly where he needed to be. By mid-morning, the atmosphere in the apartment had shifted from silent order to sharp digital pressure. The human sat at the desk in the small office, shoulders hunched forward, eyes fixed on the glowing laptop screen. A spreadsheet covered the display, rows of data blurring into a frantic mosaic. The human spoke in rapid, clipped sentences, gesturing at the monitor as if the screen could hear the mounting frustration. The Zoom call was live, a grid of faces watching from afar. Kidow appeared in the doorway, his movements fluid and soundless. He sat on the threshold, a statue of orange fur against the dark frame, watching the back of the human's head. He did not approach. He did not purr. He simply observed the high-pitched hum of the laptop and the nervous tapping of the human's fingers against the desk. The air in the room felt heavy, charged with the stress of a deadline. Kidow shifted his weight, his eyes tracking the light blinking on the charging dock of the robot vacuum resting in the corner. He watched the human lean closer to the microphone, voice rising in pitch, completely unaware of the observer standing perfectly still just a few feet away. The tension was building, quiet and absolute. Kidow turned his back on the desk and trotted toward the charging dock in the corner. His movements were precise, devoid of hesitation. He reached the robot vacuum, paused for a split second to assess the target, and then reared up on his hind legs. He brought a single paw down with deliberate force, slamming it directly onto the central power button. The machine responded instantly. A mechanical hum vibrated through the floorboards as the status light flickered to life. Kidow did not jump back from the sudden motion. Instead, he waited for the plastic casing to stabilize, then stepped onto the top of the unit. He sat perfectly still, tail tucked neatly against his side, assuming the posture of a commander on a mobile platform. The vacuum engaged its motor and began to move. It pulled away from the dock with a low, rhythmic whir gliding across the hardwood floor. Kidow remained motionless as the machine navigated the hallway, its sensors guiding it in a straight, unwavering line toward the office door. The speed was slow, almost hypnotic. The machine turned the corner, entering the workspace with the silent, predatory grace of a silent intruder, carrying its passenger directly toward the unsuspecting human. The vacuum glided across the threshold, its motor humming a low, steady pitch that seemed to vibrate against the silence of the office. The human remained hunched over the keyboard, completely oblivious to the intruder closing the distance. On the laptop screen, the boss leaned toward the camera, a stern expression etched into his features as he gestured toward the final slide of the presentation. He paused, looking directly into the lens. "Does anyone have any objections to this proposal?" he asked. The room went deathly quiet. The human took a breath to speak, but before a single word could escape, the vacuum rolled to a stop directly behind the chair. Kidow sat upright on the plastic casing, his gaze locked onto the screen. He stretched his neck forward, ears twitching, and opened his mouth. A loud, resonant, and unmistakably demanding meow echoed through the office and straight into the microphone. The sound was sharp, clear, and utterly out of place. The human froze, his hands hovering over the keys. On the screen, the boss blinked, his eyebrows rising in surprise. For a heartbeat, the digital connection was suspended in total, agonizing silence. Then, a single coworker chuckled, followed by another, until the entire gallery of faces on the display dissolved into uncontrollable laughter. The professional veneer of the meeting had vanished, replaced by the absurdity of the orange cat sitting motionless in the center of the frame. The meeting ended, but the human did not close the laptop. He sat motionless, staring at the screen with his mouth slightly agape, unable to process the turn of events. A sharp chime cut through the silence of the room. A new notification window popped up, sliding into the center of the display with a crisp digital sound. The text was clear. "Welcome to the team. Kidow, please review your onboarding packet." The boss had bypassed all protocol and officially hired the cat as a consultant. Kidow did not react with surprise. He hopped off the vacuum, walked to the desk, and pulled himself up onto the chair. He sat beside the laptop, his posture rigid and professional. Someone had placed a pair of tiny, oversized plastic frames on his face, but he did not bat them away. He simply peered through them, his gaze fixed on the screen as new meeting invites flooded the inbox one after another. He blinked slowly at the camera, his expression unreadable, a master of his domain. The human reached out, but stopped short, hovering his hand in the air. Kidow ignored the gesture, leaned into the glow of the monitor, and settled into his new role as the household's top executive. The work had only just begun.